Hello students, we are back again with the company meetings. This is the portions which I have left behind in the previous one. So we discussed in the previous one regarding general body meeting. We also discussed regarding the board meeting. We discussed about different types of other meetings, but in other meetings there are certain things which are yet to be discussed. So out of that, so let us come to the portions that is called the class meetings. So this class meeting is relating to different class of shareholders. So this shareholders, there are different types of shareholders. As you know, we have got equity shareholders who are attending the general body meeting, and they are also part of the board of directors, so they also attend the board meeting. And these people, apart from that, there are other shareholders called preferential shareholders. And these shareholders, they attend the meetings. And these preferential shareholders, separately they conduct meetings. And these meetings are called the meetings of the preferential shareholders. So there are different matters also they discuss relating to the business. But it is not very common. Maybe once in a year they will come across, they will come to the meeting and they will discuss different matters. Particularly when the interest on the preferential shares or the dividend on the preferential shares, they get a fixed dividend on the preferential shares they get, and when they do not get it, automatically they will discuss different matters, or there is some irregularity in the business, or there is some mismanagement in the business, then the preferential shareholders may call a meeting to discuss their matters. Apart from that, under the category other meetings, there are other people who also invest money in the business. They are the debenture holders, they are the creditors. So debenture holders, similarly, they also conduct some meetings, that is meeting of the debenture holders. Maybe once in a year they can conduct it. Depending on the circumstances, they can do it. So when the circumstances require, suppose they do not get their interest on the amount they have invested, and they will call a meeting and discuss the matter with the board of directors and others. Similarly, the creditors, they can also call the meeting and they can also discuss different matters relating to the business. But these meetings are not very common, and these meetings they once in a year they usually conduct, just maybe to discuss the various issues of the business, how the business is going on. They want to know relating to the internal administration of the organization. So for that they call the meetings. Now come to the portion which talks about the what are the prerequisites of a valid meeting. Now the basic prerequisite of a valid meeting is that the meeting must be duly convened. Duly convened means the notice must go in time and the time period is given. If it is 21 clear days, then it has to go maintain the 21 clear days, excluding the meeting date and the issue date. Similarly, and other meetings wherever it is there, that thing has to be like 7 days notice, that 7 days has to be taken care, the time period has to be taken care. Some cases it is 14 days, that 14 days has to be taken care. So in every meeting, the meeting has to be convened and it must be duly convened, properly convened. Second thing, that there must be proper and adequate notice must be given relating to the meeting, and the meeting must be legally constituted. Legally constituted means in every meeting there should be a quorum. Like for example, in a board meeting, 1/3 of the directors must be present. Similarly, in a shareholders meeting, equity shareholders meeting, what should be the quorum? The article mention about it, what should be the quorum. Or in a preferential shareholders meeting, or in a debenture holders meeting, or in a creditors meeting, what is the number? That the article specifies how much is the number. So that number of people must be present in the meeting. If the number is not present in the meeting, then automatically the meeting cannot be duly or properly conducted. So without the number, you cannot conduct any meeting. The chairman cannot conduct any meeting, or the company secretary cannot run the meeting. That is why it is necessary, and The business at the meeting must be validly transacted. The business that they are going to transact, because in every meeting some business is transacted, and the business whatever they are transacting, that must be properly being done, and it must be legally must be done, and unless and until it is legally done, it cannot be taken. Now come to the next part, that is proxy. Proxy indicates that the person, the member of the company is not able to attend the meeting, maybe the equity shareholder, preferential shareholder, any shareholder or any person who is not able to attend, particularly in the case of general meeting, a equity shareholder is not able to attend, so he will appoint one proxy. And in every annual general meeting, a proxy form is attached. That also I have told. And this proxy form has to reach the company at least 48 hours before the meeting, so that they will make the entries and accordingly allow the person who will come on behalf of the members. So the member will, instead of the member, the person who is coming, he will show his identity and he can attend the meeting on behalf of the member. But one thing is clear, this particular person who is attending on behalf of the member will be counted for the purpose of the quorum, it will be counted, but he can only vote when there is a poll. Only in case of poll he can make a voting, but in case of raising of hands he cannot vote. So that is why a proxy is not allowed to raise hands or take or talk in favor or talk against any kind of motions that has been passed. So that he is only for the voting purpose, he is counted, that too in poll, not in other cases he is not allowed. Then come to the next term, that is quorum. So quorum is, as I told you, that is the minimum number of people, minimum number of members who must be present in the meeting to make the meeting a valid meeting or properly constituted meeting. As I told you that 1/3 of the people, in case of board of directors, 1/3 of the board of directors must be there. So if it is 12 people, so 1/3 of that 4 people must be there. But it should be, minimum should be 2. As per the law it says, it should be minimum 2. Wherever it is more than 2, okay, but minimum should be 2. Whichever is higher, either 1/3 or 2, whichever is higher will be taken. So that condition is to be fulfilled, because without the quorum nothing can be done. Suppose in a meeting quorum is not available, the meeting is, they have to wait for half an hour, then within that period if the members are not coming or the quorum is not constituted, the meeting is postponed, and this meeting is postponed for 1 week time period. So the meeting will be constituted or meeting will be convened at the same time, same place after 1 week. Again, if there is no quorum, then in that case again the meeting is postponed. So without the quorum, meeting cannot be conducted. However, when a meeting is adjourned, that means a meeting, some transactions have been left out, it cannot be completed within 1 day, so it is postponed or adjourned for another 1 week time period. So at that adjourned meeting, no quorum is required. But for beginning the meeting, if it is not an adjourned meeting, but it is the fresh meeting, new meeting, then quorum is essential, that has to be there. Then comes the chairperson. In every meeting there must be a chairperson, the person who will be heading the meeting or who will identified as a chairperson. Usually the chairperson of the meeting, in the board meeting, the chairman is identified, or in other meetings also usually it is identified who should be the chairperson of the meeting, but in some meetings it is not there, and they have to find out a person, they have to unanimously they have to propose and second, after that a chairman is appointed. So when there is no chairman, or if the chairman is not coming because of some reason, is not attending the meeting, so they have to appoint somebody in the place of the chairman, and that person will be appointed, or the name of that person will be proposed by one of the members and it will be seconded by another member. Then he becomes the chairman and he will finalize the decision in case of any ambiguity, in case of any doubts, or in case of any controversy, he will interfere in the matter and clarify the things. So if the chairman who is there, he has to come within 15 minutes of starting of the meeting. So when the meeting starts, people will wait for 15 minutes. Once the quorum is there, after that they will wait for maximum 15 minutes. Within 15 minutes, if the chairman is not coming, then they will appoint from among themselves another person as the chairman, and he will be taken. So the chairman has got certain duties. So those duties the chairman has to fulfill. And these are the common duties which is there for every type of meeting. So let us see what are the duties of the chairman. The chairman must ensure that the meeting is properly being convened and constituted. The meeting is properly being convened and constituted. That means proper notice has been sent, everybody has received the notice, and accordingly everybody has given their consent to attend the meeting. If a person is not attending the meeting, then in that case he will inform the reason why he is not attending. Maybe he is out of the town, maybe he is ill or some reason, so he must give the reason. So that will be recorded in the minutes of the meeting. So the person who is absent from the meeting, that also will be recorded. He has not intimated, but he is absent. So no intimation has come and he has not attended the meeting. So thereby he remains absent in the meeting. And if a person remains absent continuously, he will be debarred from the meeting. Particularly in case of board meeting, a person, board of director, is continuously absent, then automatically he is debarred. So in that case, you have to intimate why you are remaining absent. So if you do not intimate, it will be recorded as absent. If you intimate, then it will be taken as an apology. So you will mention that I am not able to come because I am ill. So for that reason it is there. Then the provisions of the law, the chairman should see that all the provisions of the law, the memorandum and article are taken care of. It is the duty of the chairman to see that all the provisions are being taken care of. And he must ensure that whatever business as per the agenda, they have to move, because agenda is the timetable they prepare, that what is the agenda, what are the different items in the meeting. So as per that they have to discuss one by one, they have to discuss, and as per the agenda they have to move. And this has to be taken care that all the business in the meeting is transacted by the people in the meeting or by the chairman. Chairman has to see, and the secretary of the company, they have to put it before that. And they have to regulate the proceedings, because all the proceedings are to be recorded by the secretary of the company. Whatever discussions, whatever resolutions taken, or whatever steps to be taken, all these are to be recorded. And these records, they prepare a summary of the records and they circulate among the members, and this is called as minutes of the meeting. We will come to that. And apart from that, chairman has the power to adjourn the meeting whenever it is required. So chairman can adjourn the meeting if the meeting is not complete, or because of some reason there is a fight or quarrel or disagreement. In that case they can adjourn the meeting to another date. So that is also possible, and in the adjourned meeting no quorum is required. And they can exercise for casting of the vote. It depends on the chairman. When there is a voting, the chairman has got a right to vote, but it depends whether the chairman will cast the vote or not cast the vote. It depends. So chairman usually reserves the right, and whenever it is required he can cast the vote. Let us come to another part under section 109, that is voting and demand for the poll. So voting and demand for the poll, in every meeting it is there. Whenever there is a decision to be taken and there are two opinions, in that case voting is conducted. And this voting is conducted maybe by raising of the hands or by taking a secret ballot. So by raising of the hands, proxy people cannot raise hands, but when it is a voting by secret ballot, they can put their things in the ballot. So the opinion is taken from both the sides, and wherever it is higher, that opinion is accepted. So it is in favor or it is against a particular proposal, that has to be discussed and that has to be decided. So these things are there. Always there is whenever it is required, it is the discretion of the particular chairman, who is the chairman, he will decide whether they will go for voting or not. He will also decide whether there will be a poll or not. And if there is a voting, whether the voting will be by raising of the hands or voting will be by poll. And this power which is conferred, that a resolution has to be taken regarding that. In every meeting, when there is a particular discussion relating to the voting and other things, and that should be recorded that there was a voting, and in the voting this thing has been identified and this thing has been recorded. So the meeting, in the meeting, the company secretary will record all these things in the minutes of the company or minutes of the meeting, and accordingly go ahead. Let us come to another called agenda and motion. Agenda is the items that is to be discussed. In every meeting there is an agenda, and that agenda starts with the opening, and after that opening, that in the agenda, usually in a meeting, the past meetings things are read out, whatever discussions have been done or whatever things have been done, that is also discussed. The proceedings of the last meeting are discussed, then they go for the next meeting or the new meeting, the agenda is read out, and this agenda is usually sent along with the notice of the meeting. So whenever the meeting notice goes, along with that the agenda also goes, because people will come prepared by looking at the agenda, what are the things to be discussed in the meeting. Then next thing comes is a motion. Motion is whatever discussions that has been done. So whenever there is a discussion relating to the meeting, or the whatever they discuss, maybe in favor or maybe against, and after that whatever they finalize, that is called the resolutions. So in every meeting there is motion, and a motion is moved, and depending on the in favor of that or against that motion. So how many people are in favor of the motion and how many people are against the motion, accordingly the poll is taken or voting is taken, on that basis it is done. So if it is required also, there can be amendment to the motion, there can be changes can be made to the motion. Suppose something is already discussed, and after discussion some changes are required, so these changes can also be done, but everything has to be done as per the things, or as per the rules, as per the permission of the articles. So if article permits it, then accordingly whatever things are to be done. So everything is recorded in the article, it is already there, and depending on that they will do. Then next comes the resolutions. There are different types of resolutions. So these resolutions, whenever you are making a motion, after the motion there comes the resolution. So motion gives rise to a discussion. After the discussion, a resolution is taken. So first comes the motion. Motion, after that there may be voting, polling, whatever is there, or discussions, and after that a resolution is done, or the confirmation, whatever is there. So finalizing the whole thing. So any matter comes through a resolution. So that resolution, there are different types of resolutions. First one is ordinary resolution. So when we require ordinary resolution, ordinary means simple majority. So it requires simple majority, at least 50% of the people present must say yes, then resolution is passed. So when 50% people say that okay, the motion be passed, then resolution is made, is by ordinary resolution. Certain things which require ordinary resolution. So those things are done by simple majority. We call it as a simple majority. And there are certain things which are done by special resolution. They are called the special resolution because they require 3/4 majority. So those resolutions which require simple majority, there are some things that is routine matters, and there are other matters which require special resolution, which is 3/4 majority. So if it is less than 3/4, this resolution cannot be accepted. So any resolution which is special in nature has to be passed by 3/4 of the people who are present in the meeting. So on that basis it is done. So usually the matters which are coming under the special resolution, that comes to alter the domicile clause of the memorandum, to change or alter the name of the company, to alter the articles of association, to change the name of the company by omitting limited, or private limited. So these are the things which are coming under the special resolution, and for that the 2/3 majority is required. Ordinary resolution like payment of dividend and appointment of director or appointment of auditor. So these are common things which are there, and there are certain things which requiring special notice. So these are these resolutions which actually requiring special notice. But this special notice, but these are ordinary. These are ordinary resolutions, but they require some kind of special notice. A special notice has to be served, and unless and until a special notice is served, this is not acceptable. So we call it as resolution requiring a special notice. So what are these things? What are the things which are coming under this? That is to appoint the auditor other than the retiring auditor, to resolve at an annual general body meeting that the retiring auditor should not be reappointed, to remove the director before the expiry of the term, to appoint another director in the place of the director who is removed, where the articles of the company provide for serving a special notice for the resolution, then regarding that matter has to be done. Then resolution requiring special notice may be passed either as an ordinary resolution, and sometimes it is by special resolution. So these are the basic things, the major things as we discussed, that to appoint auditor. To appoint auditor, if the retiring auditor is to be reappointed, then it is by ordinary resolution, then ordinary business, it is a routine matter, it can be done. But if another person will be appointed in the place of the auditor who is retiring, then it requires ordinary resolution but with a special notice. Then second thing as we discussed, that is that to resolve in the annual general body meeting that the retiring auditor will not be reappointed. So for that purpose another person will be appointed, but he will not be reappointed because of some problems. He will not be reappointed. So for that again it requires special notice. Third thing which comes, to remove the director before the expiry of his term. So again it is a ordinary resolution to reappoint a director, but when a director is not to be reappointed, another person will be appointed in his place, then in that case you need to have a special notice. So these are the general things, but it requires a special notice because the condition is like that. Then come to minutes. These minutes are actually prepared by the secretary of the company. So company secretary prepares the meeting and they have to be circulated within 30 days to the members of the company or to the directors of the company. So these minutes are recorded. These are the summary of whatever discussions have been made. So it will be recorded like these matters have been discussed, and accordingly the resolution has been taken like this. And depending on the minutes, action will be done. And every chairman, every time the chairman of the meeting, whosoever was the chairman of the meeting, he will sign these minutes. So it has to be signed by the chairman. And every minute has to be checked and signed, because any kind of mistakes or any kind of wrong thing recorded there, the chairman will be liable. Though the secretary of the company prepare, the chairman becomes liable. That is why the chairman has to be very careful in signing these documents, because these things are discussed and done. And this is a major portion, this is a major thing, and these are the things we have to discuss. So these are the general things which are there in the company meetings. So next time we will again come up with another new chapter. So till then, goodbye. Thank you.